So, the usual suspects here, Jeff.
Yeah, look at these, you know, they're still in the tavern. um, I'm going to read before Baba, I was going to college and I was English literature. And this was about the closest. I mean, this is one of a famous line by T.S. Eliot, one of American British poet. And it struck me. This is before I had any of Baba's writings or anything, but he said, T.S. Eliot, we shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time.
Well,
I'll read that again. I mean, beautifully expressed. And, this is not somebody in the spiritual tradition, but he's, putting into words one of the deep truths. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time.
well.
Beautifully put. Here's something from Baba. Well, this is Mani, Baba's sister. It it is important for each of us who love Baba to be with Baba. Baba is with us every second, but it becomes complete when we are with him. Beautifully said. It is important for each of us who love Baba to be with Baba. Baba is with us every second, but it becomes complete when we are with him.
Beautiful.
Somebody's got a bird tweaking. Now, this is Baba. God knows every need of your body, your soul, and your spirit. Learn to be calm and still, and do your best with love in your heart. If you do your best, God will do the rest. Now trust in your best and in God. That's Baba. This is Baba. Live a normal life and just love me and do not be attached to living. Then you will have a curtain of my love protecting you from the world. Then you will have a curtain of my love protecting you from the world. And this is one last one. This is Mother Teresa. We may wonder, whom can I love and serve? Where is the face of God to whom I can pray? The answer is simple. That hungry one, that naked one, that lonely one, that unwanted one is my brother and sister. If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. Beautiful. Well, um, what I was thinking, does anyone have anything to share, anything that comes up at all? Anything, any thoughts or flashes from the infinite?
Jeff,
Yeah.
I have this book, Inviting His Grace.
Uh-huh.
In this book, I think they compiled a bunch of messages of Baba and anything they felt is important.
Ganesh, who sometimes comes on, he's the one that put that book together.
Oh, there it
Yeah.
is. There it is. And there's one section totally devoted to Darwin Shaw's, wisdom from his book, Effort and Grace. And here is one I thought I'll share. Holding on to Baba. Someone asked Meher Baba, should I should one first get rid of desires and then come to the master? Let me read that again. Someone asked Meher Baba, should one first get rid of desires and then come to the master? Baba said, no, come to me first. And Darwin further goes here, when we put all our energies into trying to love the master, that in itself will help us overcome our weaknesses and purify the heart. Doing so creates a centrifugal force, throwing out the false and preventing more of the false from coming in. Our vibrations step up a great deal. Our inner vision is clear, and we dare to plunge ahead. That's from page 44 of Effort and Grace. There are a lot more like this here. Another little thing is let everything pass. In essence, we must not let everything pass through and become satisfied to dwell within the grace of the Master and be supported by his love and grace. I don't think I read that right.
Yeah.
In essence, we must let everything pass through and become satisfied to dwell within the grace of the Master and be supported by his love and grace. This much this is much better than preserving the ego. That's the second one.
Yeah. One thing I thought might be interesting in exploring, we'll see what where people are at. But one of the things when I was living up near Darwin and Jean, this is back in around 1970. Can you hear me all right? Yeah. Darwin used to talk about, now you have to imagine, I'm kind of a young kid and just new into Baba for a couple of years. But Darwin was talking about, used the phrase, the tyranny of the mind, which is kind of, I mean, I never thought in terms of the tyranny of the mind. And that stayed, he expressed that throughout, that the mind is, for eons of time, has been our go-to. When we want to know what we should do, for the longest time, we go to the mind and ask what the mind tells us. And so now we're switching over to go to the intuition and the heart to get what it has to say. Now it's very hard. Those two voices are, I mean, the voice of the mind is a little bit louder than the voice of the heart, you might say. And so we, for a long time, I mean, I can say I had those things confused. The voice of the mind and the voice of intuition was, I hadn't really thought to separate those out and see a difference. They were just all kind of part of the whole wash. I mean, they were all part of the same territory. So now, and then over time, what I've discovered and what Darwin brought home is that the mind is on the good-bad scale. There's a continuum from bad to better to good to best. And the mind is on that, and it says, oh, I'm here, and then all these other people are down there. Or I'm here, and those people are up there. It's not really love. It's just making a mental comparison. And also, you can say there's what Darwin calls the good-bad scale. Then there's also the approval-disapproval scale. I'm living the spiritual life, and those people down there are not living the spiritual life. But those people up there are really living the spiritual life. But it's a whole mental approach. And we think, oh, well, if I want to know where I am and evaluate where I am, I'll ask the mind. We'll look at the scales and see where I'm at. Whereas intuition doesn't even bother with that. Love doesn't bother with that. You know, you're outside of that whole way of viewing things, not looking. The love looks at things in a large and inclusive way, not comparing that I'm better than this one, that person's better than me. That's all kind of a mental exercise. So anyway, I'm just throwing that out. I did have, whoops. Now here are a few quotes that fall into that card. Here's what Baba says. The heart, feeling in its inner experiences the glow of love, has glimpses of the unity of the spirit and seeks expression through self-giving tendencies that unite humanity and make it selfless and generous. Therefore, there is necessarily a conflict between the inner voice on the one hand and the deliverances of the intellect on the other, which are based upon the apparent and superficial aspects of life. When the mind encroaches upon the province of the heart, it does so by requiring assurances and conviction as a precedent condition that must be fulfilled before there is a release of love. And those are all Baba's words. Now, before I love, I'm going to make sure that the object is worth investing in. But anyway, I'm just throwing that out. Anybody have some thoughts on that? And how to, how to pick up. I mean, ideally, we would guide ourselves from the heart and from intuition. But like I say, there's a conflict as the mind has been running the show for so long. What do you think, Betty?
Yeah, I sure relate. It's a hard thing to I think I came into Baba skeptical and not wanting to let go of respectability. I had friends who thought I was a little nuts.
That you just kind of
now I accept it. I embrace it. I am a little nuts. It's okay.
uh-huh. You mean they thought you had kind of just caved into a pipe dream sort of thing?
Giving up common sense. And yeah. It's still a hard balance to I think it's important to try to be practical and
she's over 21.
How do you know, Dave?
I don't. I've never looked for her license.
And we got David too. David DeFow from
oh wow.
Portland.
Hi, you're muted, David. You're muted.
Here I go. Hi, Betty. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Are you?
Yeah.
Betty and I are just around the corner, practically. About 20 miles.
Well,
David,
we were talking about, listening to the mind as opposed to listening to the heart with its intuitions. And that struggle of preferring and being actually able to pick up the voice of intuition. And what is it that makes the mind so attractive? That we actually consult the mind. But
yeah. This is important subject.
Yeah.
Any thoughts that you can add to that?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, I think the rational mind is very important because it it's maybe somewhat like, I guess, a steering wheel. I mean, if we, I mean, I believe in really paying attention to my feelings and intuitions, but I want to make sure my intuitions aren't telling me to drive off a cliff, you know, basically. So I think of it as a check, you know, the intellect against false thoughts and fake news, as they say in the news. You know?
Yeah.
So far, so good, David.
Yeah.
You've done well with your intuition.
Yeah. Well, and two, I mean, ideally, as Baba said, if the mind is a servant to the heart, that's the best. You know, it should serve the heart should be the direct things, and the heart, I mean, and the mind helps to carry it out. You might get a feeling to throw a birthday party for an old buddy, but it's going to be the mind that does the phone calls and ordering the cake and arranging all of that, you know.
Yeah. I know with me, I just find the world very interesting, and you know, I don't know, my mind is always running after some fact or tidbit or something, you know. Anyway.
Yeah. Let's see what Alan came in. I don't know if you heard some of this, but
hey, yeah, no, I kind of caught the mid sentence of what you guys are talking about. What? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking about, you know, the mind has been running the show for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, and now in this life, well, and probably in recent lifetimes, we're starting to listen to the voice of the heart and to intuition. So those are two different realms. And then actually even distinguishing the difference between a flash of the intellect and a flash from intuition or from the heart. All of that is, we get better at it over time. So we're not chasing, we're not being fooled and chasing after something the mind has concocted, you know.
Yeah, I appreciate the stories about the like the early woman Mandali, you know, when they were meeting Baba for the first time in the 30s, and just the way that he worked with their minds and worked with their extreme, I mean, 1932 in England was pretty proper and pretty, like, you know, there's very strict ways about things, and like the fact that he was just coming in and was asking, like, can I stay at your parents' place? And, you know, just kind of, they had to work with all these things and explaining to people, you know, they had to be very practical because they just knew that they loved him and they would do anything for him, but they had to still live their lives out of like explaining to their parents and explaining to their friends and feeling embarrassed and feeling like I'm going to leave my school now, you know, teaching all these students, and all the parents are upset, and I'm going to live in India. What are you doing? You know, like, what is this? Like, you're out of your element. And then they're like, you know, I'm sorry, but I have to leave now. It's just like to see them go through all that and get grinded down into these situations of living in very minimal, menial terms of, like, I mean, at one point, somebody who had actually escaped the Holocaust, I think it was in 1945, she was really feeling a lot of that trauma, and she had visited, she was given the opportunity to sit with the women and have dinner with them, the Western women, and she sat with them and she saw how they were living, and she was like weeping, and she was basically just releasing all of this emotion, and all the women were sitting there, they didn't really know what was going on, and she said, I too know what it's like to live in a prison, you know, and they were just, they didn't know how to respond, because it was like, well, they had tattered clothes and they were using the same cup, everybody had their own cup and their own little spoon and fork, and, you know, it wasn't really like lavish living. So but it for me, that was all, it's very deep lessons about the master, and just the ways that I had never thought that you know, the perfect ones really teach us. So yeah, it just intrigues me.
Yeah, I think that woman felt that the women Mandalay that yeah, they led a very simple and deprived life, just like she had in the concentration camps. More similar than you would have thought.
Yeah, yeah,
Being on the outside, so to speak. Yeah.
yeah. Do you know that prayer that they were singing, by the way? What was the is it called the Seven Names of God?
Yeah. Seven
Okay.
Names of God. Yeah.
And it's the same way that you sing the Gujarati prayer, right? It's
Yeah.
the same. Okay.
Same melody. Yeah.
Same melody. Yeah.
Which Baba gave.
When did he give that, by the way? Was that when he
It was
spoke?
no. That's why they had to great difficulty. He had to go note by note.
Oh.
They had to kind of give a note, and he had to basically
Wow.
gesture out note by note the Gujarati arti.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know how long that took, huh?
There was one of them that he did sing though when he was younger, right? There's one that he would sing as a young man.
Yeah, I mean, he sang a lot of them. I don't know which ones he actually sang, but
The
yeah.
Ishtiyaki. That's the one I was thinking. That's the one I was thinking about.
Oh, he actually sang that one.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, from what I heard, I don't
Yeah.
know if I'm right.
Yeah.
I just know that I heard somebody say that that Baba wrote that or sang that when he was younger.
Yeah.
And the way he sounded.
I think it might have been Mara who said, I'm trying to remember who said this, but it wasn't hard to believe that Baba could observe silence, but it was really hard to believe that he wouldn't be able to sing because he was always singing, I guess.
And he had a beautiful voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, I see Jim Watson. Are you can you hear us, Jim? Jim, who's on the screen there, he's been trying to get at the bottom of why we have this strange algae or growth on the lake at the center. He's been working on that for years. But I think he has not been able to get on the audio portion.
Jeff, can you,
Yeah.
Are you saying that the Seven Names of God was what the women were singing when the souls from the Holocaust came to?
Yeah.
And could you sing it?
Sing that?
Or
I can give it a try. Oh, wait. 1 second, I gotta unplug and get, oh, there's a guitar right there. I'm gonna sing the Seven Names of God. I mean, that's a whole story in itself, but I have shared it before. But hey, Nat, a capo by any chance? Huh. Hari para Mahatma Allah Ahurmas God Yesadantu Hari para Mahatma Allah Ahurmas God Yesadantu Hari para Mahatma Allah Hurmas God Yesadantu Hari para Mahatma Allah Hurmas God Yesadantu Hari para Mahatma Allah Hurmas
God, yes, done. Hari para Mahatma Allah Hurman. God, yes, done. Hari para Mahatma Allah Hurman. God, yes, done. Hari Bara Matma Allah God, yes, done. God, yes, done. God, yes, done.
Thank you, Jeff. That was
Yeah.
just perfect. Thank
Wonderful.
Jay Bob.
Yeah.
you.
Hey, Papa.
So I wrote down a few things that you might, I mean, these are little tidbits that you sometimes get in Mandalay Hall or, you know, there in India. But a couple buddies of mine, one was Frank Parker and another was John Florence. Some of you may know them, but they're very like talkative guys. And on their first trip, I think this is 1971 or 72, they were there outside of Adi's office. And they were waiting to go in to see him. This is in Trust Compound. And they're out there, they're back there talking. They're always big talkers. And finally, someone comes out of Adi's office, so they realize that it's time they can go in. They go in and they find Adi sitting in his chair with his eyes closed. And they realize, oh, Adi, I'm sorry, you know, we didn't know you were meditating. We wouldn't have been talking this so much outside. And Adi, who had that kind of finger that he said, I do not subscribe to that form of meditation that does not include noise. I do not subscribe to that form of meditation that does not include noise. That's a whole different way of thinking of of meditation. I'll tell you about Adi. Val Kalchuri told me this. As you probably know, Gustaji did very little in the latter part of his life, and one of his main preoccupations was gathering up paper and twigs and sticks and everything all week long. And then I think it was Friday, he would tie up the entire bath stall, making his hot water and taking his bath. And the way he would do it, the way Val would describe it, he would wash his arm up to his elbow, you know, spending so much time doing that, and then he would pour the water over that. Then he would go from the elbow to his shoulder, and he would spend time washing that, and then he would, you know, and do his whole body like that. He'd tie up the bath stall all day. And at one point, Baba asked Val to look after Gustaji and do these things for him, do some of his duties. Well, now Val was, you know, doing all this correspondence. He was, you know, doing night watch. He was only getting sometimes just 2 hours of sleep a night. And he was going and he had to walk dogs and he had all this thing. But Baba asked him, on top of all that, he gave him this duty of looking after Gustaji. And at one point it was kind of bothering Val, and Baba said, you know, what are you thinking? The usual question. And eventually Baba got it out of him. Well, Baba, you know, I have to work all day, and you are, and you know how busy I am, and I get very little sleep. And now you're asking me to look after Kastaji. He doesn't do anything. You know, he just spends his whole time just picking up sticks and papers and having a bath once a week. He's not doing anything. But this is what Baba said to him. Kastaji does more for me in 5 minutes doing nothing than you do in working for me from morning till night. And now what kind of world is that? But he must have been doing whatever Kastaji was doing. He must have let go, and Baba was doing the bathing. I don't know. But Kastaji does more for me in 5 minutes than you do in working for me from morning till night. What kind of world is that? You know. Now I don't know if you can get the nuance here, but Agnes Barron was with Arti here in the States, and she was saying life is just a battle between light and dark. You know, the forces of light and dark. And Arti said, no, it's not a battle between light and dark. It's a balance. You have to find the balance between light and dark. It's a different approach. I don't know if that rings a bell, but that's taking it to a different, rather than thinking of this just this eternal battle. Find the balance between light and dark. Let's see.
Jeff, can you remind us again when now Sherwan will be talking with you?
Yeah, Narsharwan is going to talk on this Sunday at 10 o'clock here. And he's going to share his teenage years and his early life, his young adult life, and how Baba responded to him, because he had some kind of slightly crazy ideas, you know, as you can when you're young. And I mean, Narsharwan missed Baba so much when Baba left, when he was just 7 years old, but these kids played around with Baba and they had so much fun, and then he left and they were really bereft. And over the years, he missed Baba more and more, and he'll tell you what that led to in himself.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. Now here's something. Hey Ganesh, good to see you. Someone had made reference to your book. Well, Prakash read from the book that you kind of put together on inviting grace there.
Wow.
Yeah. Ganesh, you know, Ganesh kind of he researched all over for the quotes in that book. So here's one.
Just flowed from Baba.
Yeah.
Yes.
He got. Yeah, he.
And what is the subject?
Inviting grace.
Inviting grace.
And it's all the different quotes of Baba's on grace.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Oh.
You know, this reminds me of something that Erich used to share about something that Baba said. This is another thing worth thinking about. Baba used to say, don't become so much the seeker as the sought. Don't become so much the seeker as the sought. Now, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
Baba's most. Ganesh, you got any answer to that?
Seeker to the sought. It actually, what I understand is that is to strive to make yourself worthy rather than seeking.
Yeah, beautiful. Get his attention rather than Well, I mean, this is kind of how I see that. I mean, as a metaphor, is say a mother is at the kitchen and she's washing the dishes, and out in the outside in the sandbox are her two kids. One of the kids is taking sand and putting it on his head and kind of showing, playing to the mom, trying to entertain the mom. The other kid is totally absorbed in building something in the sand, like a sandcastle. Which one do you think the mother's attention is most attracted to?
The sand pouring one?
See, I think the other. I think the child that is absorbed in something attracts attracts the attention. It's not seeking anything, not even seeking attention. It's so absorbed, and then you have then the mother has to say, what is he doing? What is he making? But I don't know if that anyone might be able to clarify that. Don't be so much the seeker as the sought.
I have a thought.
Yeah.
For example, like today, there was a moment where I could choose to, for example, have another cup of coffee or to not. And the reason, and then and let's just say on that much of a superficial level, you could take it to whatever it is that you're actually dealing with. But I was dealing with this feeling deep down, like I need something else than what I have in this moment. Right now, this moment is not enough for me. I need something else to feel more, whatever. And there was a moment where I know inside the first voice, which was I felt was Baba's voice, was that you don't need any more coffee. And I was like, yeah, but and then I started feeling the feelings that come up, the sensations in my body, which are kind of this desiring, like wanting to go towards need this object from the outside inside. I need this thing to feel better because this moment's not enough. And instead of dealing with that, or instead of just falling into it and not paying attention to it, I was like, well, why don't I just pay attention to even something as small as this? And so I just kind of held on to it. And I looked, and that feeling was actually quite a big iceberg. There's a lot more underneath that urge to like fill this moment with something else than just coffee. We're not just talking about coffee anymore.
Yeah.
Now I'm going into the levels of like all the things that I'm, and it was so intense, and it felt like a marketplace. It was really loud with all these sensations and feelings and thoughts. And all I did was I just imagined that I was in this, because it felt like a marketplace. I just imagined like grabbing both of Baba's, the hems of his sleeve, both of them. And I didn't care if it made him uncomfortable. I was like, I don't know what to do. And I just held him and I put it to my forehead. And I just sat at my desk and I was holding his sleeves. And I was like really experimenting and asking Baba, you said if I hold on to you that this will be like a mosquito net from all these crazy thoughts and all these things. And I need you right now. And I held on to him.
If you figure that out, that's where great songs come from.
Exactly. And I held on to him, and all of a sudden it was like that urge, or all those that force of the urge, that inertia of it was just slowed down. And I really did feel that there was an actual spaciousness, and I could choose in that moment to whether I needed to get up or not. And it was very clear in that moment that I could just not do that. And in fact, it lasted for about half a day, and then I made another cup of coffee.
Wow.
Yeah.
I couldn't resist it the whole day, but it lasted about half a day. But it's a strong surge,
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I think when you're absorbed in doing something in remembrance of Baba, but just in your own way, you become the sought.
Yeah.
If you're doing something that you're doing it for Baba, but you're not looking up and getting reassurances from him, you're just doing it, then you become the sought, I would say. But Prakash, you has.
Right. No, I mean, I just remembered the story of Must Krishna, I think. Not necessarily a must, but the story of Krishna who happens to be working in railways and he misses a train. And you remember that story you mentioned the other day?
Yeah.
And what reminded me that he's being sought is when Baba goes to him and then searches for almost 3 days, maybe 3 or 4 days, and he pleads with Erich at the end, and because all the mandali have just given up trying to look for this guy, and then Baba says, "Please, one more day, give me one more day, and let me find him." And that's when they go, and they Baba hears this voice saying Krishna, 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 and then he tells Erich, "Look, can you hear that voice?" And then they walk, and then all that happens. They roll on the ground and they hug each other.
Oh, yeah.
A question of God seeking a lover, and
Yeah, beautiful.
that's it.
Yeah. There's a famous Sufi line where Baba, where the line that goes, this is slightly different kind of take on this, where it says, the truth we tell of cannot be found by seeking, yet only seekers find it.
Wow.
The
Ooh.
truth we tell of cannot be found by seeking, yet only seekers find it. Because they attract the grace. This guy is trying futilely to find God, and his efforts will never get him God, but his efforts touch my heart, so I'm going to respond to him. It's a beautiful thing. That was a kind of Sufi. Here's one thing that Erich used to say. Well, anything further on that?
No, I mean, I just remembered, all these things happen when you're completely forgetful. I mean, not forgetful like posting a letter like Baba talks about in the supplement of God Speaks. There is something called positive forgetfulness. And there's a huge discussion in God Speaks. And I think when you get into that state of being, then I guess you have direct access to the source. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, that positive self-forgetfulness attracts
Right.
the beloved.
Because Baba says in this particular state, the poets do wonderful poetry and the scientists discover unbelievable things, and all that come as flashes when they have this state of positive forgetfulness.
Yeah. Like I say, that little boy in the sandbox who's making this castle, he's forgetting himself in the making of that sandcastle. And it draws. Now, here's one thing that that Erich used to say from time to time in Mandalay Hall, and it would just go over like a lead balloon. No one ever asked him a question about it because it just kind of went flat. But it appealed to me. But one day, Erich is saying that he's sitting there in Mandalay Hall over by the window opposite Baba, and Baba's sitting in the chair, and to the right is of Erich is the wall there, where they have a clock now, but back then they didn't have all the writings and everything on there. But Baba said, see that wall there? That wall is my being. But now you see that imperfection there. And Erich puts his hand up on the wall. And Baba says, you see that imperfection? That's Erich. Erich is a blemish on my being. What has to happen is Erich has to get rubbed out. Erich is so that my being can be untainted. I mean, that last sentence is mine, but Erich has to be rubbed out. Now, people did not like that. You mean, and I said to him afterwards, you mean we're just like a pimple that appears on Baba's cheek and it's there for a few days and that's gone and that's it? And Erich said, that's it. I don't know. It somehow appealed to me. I don't know why, but no one liked that. And
Well, is that
even what,
similar to the bubbles on the ocean, though? Is that is that a similar type of metaphor, like the?
yeah, I would
Yeah.
say that.
Okay.
But like, for example, you know, in that, along that same line, Erich said, you know, when Baba said the beloved God prayer, beloved God, help us all to love you more and more and more and more, and still yet more till we become worthy of union with you, and help us all to hold fast to Baba's Daman till the very end. Well, Erich objected to that. You know, Baba, why do you say it? It should be this. Beloved God, help us all to love you more and more and more and more until we are no more. You know, but Baba said no, he didn't want it changed. Because you want to feel like you're going to be around to enjoy the union, you might say, until we become worthy of union with you. But that doesn't, like I say, that I'm throwing that out as just one other option in this final stage. You know, at least, but a lot of people didn't like that because, hey, I want to still exist. I want to pick up, but eventually you want love to win out. I mean, the rationale is eventually you want love to win out. Love doesn't have a personality. Love isn't a person. Love is the ocean. But anyway,
The ocean of love.
yeah, Dave, you got a song there for us?
I do not know it, but I wish I did.
But you have another song. Sing us one of your songs, though.
I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows. I believe that someone in the darkest night somewhere a candle glows. Oh, I'm forgetting. I forget. I have memory loss. Sorry, guys.
No, try it again. That's a beautiful song. I believe. I believe for every
believe-
drop of rain that falls, a
A
flower
flower
grows.
grows. I believe that somewhere in the darkest night a candle glows. I believe for everyone that goes astray, someone will come to
And
show the way. I believe, I believe, I believe.
beautiful. Thank you, Dave.
Jay Bob.
J Bob.
Thank you. Somebody heard me.
We all heard you. And
Wonderful, Dave.
so, Marcia, you have something to,
I want to play
Yeah.
a Rhoda mystery song. Can I play that? So
Yeah.
to have you hear it, do I turn off original sound or I have original sound on? Is that good?
yeah, original sound is good,
Okay.
but that's all I know.
Let's see what happens here. I turned off the phone. God. You better go on to somebody else.
Okay, we'll let you,
I did have a comment to make, though. I was outside today. I got stuck on the computer and with the Illinois tollway and my just all kinds of stuff. And then I went outside and walked around. I'm sitting on a bench thinking, like, what am I going to do with myself? You know, blah, blah, blah. And then I started looking at the water and it was like glistening. And then I just got into, just Baba just like took all that junk away. I was so lucky because it was like, how am I going to deal with all this stuff? Like being out, like being out in the world. I said, I don't want to be out there anymore. It's kind of like I've been feeling kind of sheltered. Then all of a sudden you're out there and it's like, it's kind of weird.
There's a line from Ramakrishna, the perfect master, that Erich had near his bed, near his room, where Ramakrishna says, I don't know if I got this exactly right, but the world is a mixture of light and dark, sugar and sand. Be an ant and take the sugar.
Yeah.
The world is a mixture of light and dark, sugar and sand. Be an ant and take the sugar.
Can you hear this?
I think that she sang that before Baba. Wait, a number of times. And here's the translation. That melody and the words were by Baba. And we think maybe he sang that himself. I don't know. But here's the translation. In that moment, when your obsession for God goes beyond all limits, you will see his glory right in front of your eyes. How can I tell you, O heart, what you will become when you lose the ego? You yourself, the lover, will become the beloved. He came and whispered in my ear the secret behind the veil. I will become all yours when you become all mine. That's what we just heard.
Wow.
He came and whispered in my ear the secret behind the veil. I will become all yours when you become all mine.
Beautiful, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a whole CD of her songs. I love it. It's like,
Yeah. Well, let's see. Wonder, let's see what VJ, see if VJ's got anything. Or anybody have anything to bring up at all?
No, I was thinking about this intuition thing, Jeff. I was just looking at
It's 8 o'clock.
Don Stevens' book, "Listen, the New Humanity," and he, uh, really discusses in depth about intuition, and he talks about various types, 4 types actually, but the major ones which he really stresses on is whatever comes from the inmost being, which is God. And I thought basically that love, which is God, is basically that love tries to pierce through, not tries. I mean, it pierces through our impressions, our all 3 bodies. I mean, mental, subtle, and ultimately ends up in our consciousness. So, you know, being from love, it has to pierce through all these veils that we have. But I think we give it a chance at times when we are suddenly not thinking about anything, and there it just comes out. I find these things happen when you are totally unaware of anything. In the sense you're having a bath, and then you just are involved in what you're doing, and then suddenly comes that flash saying that this is what you got to do, or something that helps you resolve something that you're going through in a better way. And I think those moments, uh, suddenly it finds a way through, and then it squeaks, and then we just have to listen to it and go from there. And
Yeah. No, that's, I mean, it's amazing. I'll turn to Alan here, but it's amazing. Baba says that intuition is always 100% correct. So we actually have something on us, on our premises, so to speak, that knows,
right,
and that can guide us lovingly in this world.
right.
I
So
mean, it's extraordinary,
yeah,
and you get experience of it, and it's not like a theory. I mean, it comes through you at a certain time, and you know exactly when it does that is Baba's voice.
right. And Nosh was talking about this. I mean, we were also talking separately in another forum, and he said something which I thought was very, I mean, at least appealed to me, in the sense intuition seems very prominent in major events in your life. It does happen all the time. I mean, like Baba says, the voice heard deep within your soul is my voice. So it is always happening constantly. But I mean, at least generally, it so happens that in major events in your life, you become more aware of it, more conscious
Yeah.
that it has happened. Though it's almost like a continuous thing to us.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, in very highly critical moments of our life when everything is intense,
Yeah,
it comes through. But even though it's always there,
yes,
but the intensity kind of makes us aware of it. Alan, what you?
I was just gonna say, based on what you were talking about with this, the guiding intuition being that guiding light in our lives, and for me, when I reflect on it now with Baba, it's like, for example, when I have a lot of forgetful moments of him, like I'm not remembering him, but I'm concerned about my own personal, what I can get out of this, and just stuck in my own ego. The only real, for me, intuition, I can have some slight insights here and there, like, oh, well, I have a feeling, I have a sense that I should do this or do that, and I go that way, that's fine. But to me, the true intuition for myself now, the true guiding light for me, of that reminder of what is real, is when there's those moments of Baba's grace where I really am experiencing his presence, and I would say his physical presence. It's almost like his physical darshan, or his physical touch. Is I sense that he's near me, or he's in my heart, or around me. That really kind of can snap me out of any situation so fast. I could be in a Rubik's Cube of all these different formations, and there's no way I can think my way out of this, but when he's there, there's just this breaking open. And with that song that was just played, the Ishtiaki song, I just I just went from I just was in my regular whatever kind of just listening to everyone, and all of a sudden it was like that song started playing, and I just saw I was just looking at Baba, and he was like this fiery young, like these eyes, and like he's looking out, and it's like early morning, and the sun is just barely on his eyes, but if you see it from that angle, it's like the globes of his eyes are like, I can't tell, they're like universes within themselves, and it's almost like this little boat is gonna just go across one of those little eyes, but I would really wanted to just jump off the boat and into those depths of that universe. And it's just and that was just the side of his. I didn't even look inside the pupil. I was just looking at that, and he was. I just felt like that's what I'm going. That's what my whole force of life is going towards. That's what I don't know. Things pick up after those moments, though. You know what I mean? I can't figure out, like, well, what do I do with that? What does that mean? What do let me write, let me journal about it. Like, I don't need to, but I just feel like that kind of all of a sudden puts my life in a different projection than it would have. I don't know.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, you're just tapping into his paradigm, which is, outside your little melodrama. But you know what, Dinku, I wanted to get, Dinku was a little bit before VJ. Dinku, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, when I've noticed that when I tune into my intuition and pay heed to it, the more I do it, the stronger it gets, and the more it's like a guiding force. So, it's sort of, there are times, of course, when I don't listen to it, and no, and it's sort of off. But those are the times that things don't really work out. And it's just that it gets stronger and stronger the more you start listening to it.
Yeah. And Baba himself says that, the more the more you follow intuition, the more you're supplied with intuition. And eventually, I mean, what I found with eventually the intuition, rather being a faculty that's kind of separate from your consciousness, eventually we become the embodiment of intuition.
Yeah.
Erich was like an embodiment of intuition. It wasn't like intuition was coming in from over there into him. I'm talking about after all these many years with Baba, he moved, intuition is moving him. I mean, he's embodying all of that.
Every time I hear a newborn baby cry, or touch a
Touch a
leaf,
leaf.
or see the sky, then I know why I believe.
Beautiful. That was a song from about in the 50s, I believe.
No, it was actually for 1908.
Oh, even that far back. Oh, well, I heard it as a child in my childhood, but it goes even farther back. Wow.
Oh, yes.
Okay, VJ.
Yeah, it's really very interesting. And yeah, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Dowell man. That's yeah, he's our compassionate father, and he keeps an eye on us. And even if we are even I had means my young days were lost in Maya or here or there, and he keeps knocking. And there are critical moments, and so desperate, then he appears there. He tells that I am there. For example, I am going in the desert, and the song comes begin the begin, and then just makes me cry. Or sometime there is no chances, and then his picture comes, his photographs come. There were like so many occasions in life when I'm really desperate, and then he comes that I am there, and then again I get lost, everything is going on. And so intuition is something like very intimate moments with God. It's not just everyday thing that I want. And even sometime if I'm selfish, like for a job or this, oh, I'm demanding. And because of that selfish motto, also then also sometimes I'm not able to understand the what he wants, what he's communicating to me. So the mind should be very clear, very
Yeah.
poised, and then later on you understand, oh, that was the message. And immediately to grasp it means then later on you realize, oh, it was his message. And but the thing is, from our side, is trust and faith that he is our compassionate father. That is the our duty, means we should uh, know it ki no trust and faith, like our family, friends, parents, we have that trust like a child on the mother. So I think that is from our side. Baba appreciated my father, that even he did not see my real form, but he has such a trust and faith, and he appreciated it. And it's mentioned in Lord Maher. So yeah, because it's the key. Yeah, intuition and then illumination. And see, you grow means first through intellect, then comes fear, of course, logic, feelings, and then intuition. And of course, now in this incarnation, he says that he will transform into intellect to intuition. So he's giving that blessing to the entire humanity. And yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, so I think Alan, you had something there?
Oh, I just sent the question to the group. I was saying just like a thinking point of like what's the relationship between surrendering like these continual surrenders to the master and intuition, and how does that look for you? That's just I mean, it's just I don't know, it's just throwing out a question to the group.
Yeah. Anyone want to chime in on that? how intuition and surrender are relate.
I don't know, but surrender is literally total acceptance. I mean, taking
Say that
everything.
again.
I mean, it's total acceptance of things, basically. I mean, things as they happen, and and believing that they are, there for the good, in the sense that you can be, more tuned to Baba on a continuous basis. So it's basically continuous acceptance of whatever happens, uh, and knowing that everything is coming from him, and that's why you can't complain, because you're literally in his presence all the time. I don't think you need any intuition at that time. You just accept things as they happen, because
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, at least that's the way I think.
yeah,
Yeah, I will just say, yeah, accepting but accepting with joy. You start getting a joy in it actually, and then you get addicted also. Like of course, that surrender means not just a forceful surrender that no, I have to surrender to Baba, but it's a spontaneous. So you are so happy. Oh, Baba, I got addicted to him. So
Beautiful.
yeah, that's the way I feel. Yeah.
Wonderful.
yeah,
I think intuition can help to surrender. Surrender means when we surrender, the help has to come from intuition. Actually, because if you see, surrenderance is a choice which we make. Okay, and to live up to the choice, our intuition can help. So means if you look at intuition is that guiding force from within. So like the mandali was surrendered to Baba, and like an example, like if Baba wanted somebody, one of his mandali to search for a must, Baba never said that go to and find at this address. Okay, you take this bus, you go there, you will take a right turn and go to this address, and there you will find a must. Baba just mentioned that he wanted such and such must for his work, and the mandali just went and started getting their clues on their way, and they were able to, like, say, trace a must or find him. So all that came through that inner help, which came was through Baba. So that's somewhere an intuition type of thing
yeah,
where, yeah, that inner help from Baba was helping them, and they were surrendered to Baba. At the same time, Baba was helping them through intuition.
yeah. Good example. Yeah, because he didn't give them, didn't spell it out. They had to kind of, uh, and Erich would say they wait for certain clues and little hints,
Hmm.
and they would just be try to be awake and alert to that,
Yeah.
and
I can relate with this to Pukar. The Pukar used to say whenever Baba tells something to someone, that mandli knows that that work will be done, because that mandli has that inner conviction that because Baba has given this work to me, now I'm going to finish it, whatever difficulty it comes. So that was what Pukar used to say. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, Baba Balna too said that Baba said that he um, uh, not to get married to Balna too, and he knew that by Baba saying that he could do it. You know,
Yeah.
I mean the wherewithal to do it came with Baba saying that he wanted him to remain single. But prior to that, he didn't have a conviction that he would be able to do that. But Baba saying that he knew that it could be done. Yeah,
But this surrender is a subject in itself. I mean, Lawrence wrote a huge book on that.
yeah,
Yeah. And there he talks about degrees of surrendering, I think. I mean, I didn't read that book fully, but I listened to him occasionally. And,
yeah,
so it's a, it's almost like several degrees of it basically. I mean, I mean, if you are with Baba, then it's obviously total surrender. I mean, just listening and doing what he says, and because Baba doesn't give you any time to do anything else except following his instruction.
But but in this way I see it in this moment today, if I am determined to be loving in this moment for Baba's sake, and loving now for this moment, and now in this moment, if we keep on have a spirit of wanting to be loving for Baba's sake in each moment as we go along, we're gradually moving into surrender. Not our whole aim is to be of loving service and attentiveness to Him. I mean, my early years, and I think most of us had this experience. In my early years, I was loving Baba for my sake, how he was going to help me in my life, help me figure out what I was going to do in my life and what kind of job I was going to have, whether I should do this or that. And it took me a good while to realize the importance of loving him for his sake. That was a major turn in my life. What does he want? Not what he can do for me. What can I, just being an imperfect being, what can I do for him? I mean, what can I can't say I do things for him, but with the spirit of being loving toward him and loving toward his creation, I guess. That
Literally, how can I become nobody?
Jeff,
Yeah.
so somebody said it to me some time ago. A man who is very devoted to Baba, very devoted. He said to me, do not get ahead of Baba. Follow him.
Good, yeah.
And I was like, what? I never heard that before. And that also changed the course of my relationship with Baba, the course of the way I think of Baba, the way I.
Overflow, Lakshman ji, overflow, where you at? Overflow.
What? What's happening?
Yeah, go ahead. No, that's beautiful. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, and then I just want to see what you guys think about him, about this, like do not get ahead of Baba. And I would never, I don't know, because I always thought about, I make my own decisions and, I have my destiny in my hands, that kind of thing, that the new age make you think, that you're responsible for. But then when I heard that, do not get ahead of, was like such an impact, to me, that, okay, that's it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. No, Erish used to say that, and the other Mandali, don't get ahead of Baba, follow him. Follow him. Even I think Baba, even maybe someone remembers, even Baba said that, gave that figure. You want me to follow you, and where you should be following me. I mean, Baba used to make that point.
So what do you guys think about what does that means exactly in a practical way, in our daily lives to make decisions, about whatever, every day we have to make decisions, making choices, whatever it is, to eat beans or to eat, meat, or bigger things, and, so,
Yeah. Anyone want to weigh in on that?
Yeah. once Deshmukh came to Deshmukh, Dr. C.D. Deshmukh, everybody knows,
Who?
and his Dr. C.D. Deshmukh.
Dr.
Dr.
So
This.
Deshmukh, yeah.
yeah, so for his daughter's marriage, Sanjeevani, he liked a boy. He was very good, and then he goes to Baba, and Baba says to Baba that this boy is, and it's a very good alliance and all. And then Baba says, yeah, and then Baba also said, okay, yes. And then Deshmukh comes out and he says, yeah, it's Baba said, oh, it's very good. Actually, Deshmukh kind of forced that decision on Baba, and Baba has also to give his approval. But then Baba said that what he wants, he wanted me to also say. See, if Baba if Baba says to you, Baba gives to you, and you get approved by Baba, it is something like his blood. I think, Jeff, you remember that quote, when you get it done through me, it is my blood. Uh,
Yeah. If you
yeah,
if you ask something of the master, it's
compare
like
mastery.
milk.
Yeah,
Something. If you uh, no, if you ask, it's like water. I think if the master uh, gives it to you, it's like milk. But when you demand it of the master, it's like blood.
it's like a blood.
Something, something to that
Something like
effect.
that.
But
So, yeah.
let's see what Alan has to say here.
Jeff, just a moment. Can you say this again? When you demand is a blood? When you what?
Yeah, when you
I don't
demand something of Baba, I mean, this is the Baba quoted. I think it was Kabir. I wish I could remember, but if the master gives you something that it's like milk,
It's like honey, and
or
then it's
like
so
honey, is
it's
it?
some, yeah, and something like it's like honey, and if you demand from the master, it's like blood.
Yeah.
If the master gives it on his own and with his own joy, it's like honey or milk and something. And if you demand from the master, it's like blood.
So when
Yeah,
you demand from the master what he gives you is blood,
Yes.
and when
yeah,
he,
you're
when you don't ask, he just give you is like honey or milk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God, this is scary.
Meaning that if you kind of force Baba, you might get something, but uh, when you force it, you're asking for he has to pay with his blood. If he
How are we
gives it
gonna
to you,
force Baba?
huh?
How are we
Well,
gonna force Baba?
oh, there are people that did. I mean, if you read his life, there were people that made heavy demands on Baba. You know, Baba, you have to. I have these court cases. You have to help me. You have to help me. You know, give me your blessing. Give me your blessing. And they would force Baba to give his blessing. One time he
Okay.
had to bow down maybe 100 times to somebody. You know, but then Baba
Wow.
said, "But now you will never
Jeff,
come to see me again." Yeah,
I would like to ask
yeah.
if we demand from Baba and he knows better than we, it seems like it is a useless question or demand.
You're right. And yet people do it in an emotional, uh, in an emotional binding or emotional crises. People will demand of Baba.
Jeff,
But let's see
it
but let's see what Alan first. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that to Lenita's question about following, like letting Baba be, the the lead and following him. I think that is something that in my daily life, in a practical way, I feel that I'm following Baba, or I'm really, I would say, it's when I'm remembering him, and I'm constantly, or at least making the effort to do so, and life seems to go differently, which means I can sense that it happened. I can feel very clearly that difference of when I wake up in the morning and I don't remember him, and I rush out of bed and I just go into my day, and I try, and he'll come to mind, but I'll be like, Baba, there's not enough time. I have to finish these reports. You don't understand. Like, and and pushing him aside and being like, just let me finish. I just need, I don't need Baba. I need another cup of coffee. You don't understand. And listen to me, Baba. When I start getting in that mood or that way, then I really feel my life take a, he just kind of, I do sense that swerving into a place where I'm like running ahead and just like with my head cut off kind of thing. And
Maybe that's why Baba is really not fathomable at all to us.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. And well, I just wanted to share this. This is from the discourses. When I read this is part of the whole surrender thing. And he says that just as an instrument has a tendency to go wrong while being put to use, so the aspirant is also likely to get out of order during his working in the world. From time to time, the instrument has to be cleansed, overhauled, repaired, and set right. In the same way, the aspirant who during his work has developed new perversities, entanglements, and shelters for the personal ego has to be put into working order so that he can go ahead. The aspirant who enlists in the service of the master may be compared to the broom with which the master cleanses the world of its impurities. The broom is bound to accumulate the dirt of the world, and unless cleansed again and again and given a new tone, it becomes less efficient in the course of time. Each time the aspirant goes to the master, it is with fresh spiritual problems. He might have got caught in new entanglements connected with a craving for honor, riches, or other worldly things that allure man. If he pursues these, he might get them, but he might be far from the goal of experiencing God on whom he had set his heart. Only through active intervention of the master can such spiritual disorders be cured. And then it just goes on. It's basically, which is part of the whole thing of surrendering again and again until you get to that final, the true, complete surrenderance. But yeah, that's what I wanted to share about that.
That really sounds like a lot of fun.
It is. Hey, Lenita, you came on a little bit, maybe a little bit later, but I said in my early years with Baba, I was loving Baba for my sake, what he could do, how he could help me. So Baba was following me. I had Baba following me, and at a certain point, I realized I have to follow him. My job is to try to please him, not to get him to help me out of my difficulties, help me live the life that I want to live.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's the
okay. Thanks.
Turning point.
I like. Thanks, Alan. It was good too.
Yeah.
Good points.
Yeah.
Ganesh,
hey,
got
Lenita, your
something
dream
over there?
though is important too. If you share that sometime, that dream with Baba's hand on your back, by the way, that's a good one.
Oh yes, that was. I think that's the illustrates this statement of don't get ahead of Baba.
Yeah, I still think about that time to time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ganesh, you got something over there? Or?
I'm just enjoying what is being discussed over here. So,
Well, let's see. Just to let you know, Ganesh, and if you want to tell the people there in Pune that
yes.
Nashawin Nalaval is going to share his teenage years and early adulthood,
Hmm.
his life with Baba, and how Baba interacted with him, how Bob responded to the things that were going on in him during that period of his life.
Sure.
And
So
he's
the
got
date
even the
for
communications of things that Baba sent to him,
so when is
responding.
that going to be? So when that's on the third.
This coming Sunday
Yeah, that's for
at
us.
10
It's going to
o'clock.
be May, yeah,
Yeah.
May 3rd morning. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Anybody that might want to tune in there that you know.
Definitely.
Hey, so anything else that comes to mind?
Jeff, I mean, today I read one article. I mean, it's about Baba words. I'll just read that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, on this day, that is like 26th April 2011. Okay. Don Stevens, one of the close man disciples of beloved Baba, Majid Baba. Okay. Power of Baba's words. After Don had worked several months on the discourses, on a subsequent visit to Mehrazad, Baba asked him how the work was progressing. As sometimes happens in any project, Don was apparently at low ebb in his vitality, and without thinking, he blurted out, "Almost finished now, Baba, but I don't know how much good all this work will do." Baba looked surprised by his comment and made his accustomed gesture to Don to continue his thought. Quote, "Well, I hear so many people say that words, if anything, obscure truth, and the mind finally cannot grasp truth. Even some of the people who love you most dearly say that even Baba's words can well be left aside in the pursuit of God realization." Unquote. People say that about Baba's own words. He almost exploded. He was so angry. Don nodded mutely. Yes. Quite upset, Baba continued his gesticulations rapidly as Eruch spoke them to Don. "You must understand that whenever Baba gives out words for his lovers to use and read, he attaches a spiritual energy to them, something like an atomic spiritual bomb. This is especially true in God Speaks. Then, when one reads those words, even if he does not understand even one word of what he reads, a part of the spiritual energy will be absorbed by that person. And this energy will be very important for that person in his spiritual progress." Baba concluded, "It is your duty, Don, to tell people what Baba has said and to tell them to work with and read Baba's words, as this will be a great help in their spiritual ongoing." So this was from Lord Meher, page 5099.
Beautiful. Yeah. We were talking earlier about the mind and the battle between the mind and the intuition. And Baba's words, if the mind takes them in, he convinces the mind to become a servant of the heart. I mean, and use all of its conceptions and everything to direct toward God or toward himself. So Baba is reprogramming our mind. I mean, besides our heart, but the mind itself, reprogramming it to to uh, to direct it toward the truth, toward love, toward the spiritual depths, and for the mind to be a servant of the heart rather than a master. You know, you follow? I mean, it's so he is re-educating the mind. Otherwise, we would have had more of a double of the time with the mind, because the mind has been in charge for eons of time and is not going to just give in. But Baba's words convince the mind to become a servant of the heart, of love. He is doing that work. He's done that work for us. This is my opinion in giving all these words. He's, yeah,
So
yeah.
Jeff, when this happening, that's just happening for the people who are in a spiritual path, that he's reprogramming the mind, or he's doing for everybody, for the whole universe?
It really is doing it for everybody. I mean, it goes into the world and it helps everybody. But we are lucky that we're kind of awake to and can take advantage of this happening. Anybody that's get into the spirituality, they benefit. But these words, whether the people read them or not, they go into the mental world and change the shape of the mental world and whatever. It's directing everybody toward the divine. And yeah, Dinku, yeah,
Yeah, Jeff, I have a question. You know,
yeah.
when we talk about wisdom, and wisdom, does that come from the mind, or is that the heart that's taking over the mind?
Yeah, it's the heart, and it's actually the spirit behind the heart is where wisdom is. but it's definitely not in the mind. But the deeper heart, the deepest recesses of the heart, you border on the realm of the spirit, which or the soul. So really the wisdom comes from the soul into the heart, and eventually the mind picks it up and and appreciates it, you know. I mean, it comes not only it comes from Baba into our soul all the way into the deeper heart. It percolates itself into the more superficial realm of the heart and then into the mind. But it changes the whole tone of our life.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Don't have, yeah, good questions are good. Hey, so oh yeah, Alan's got.
When you're talking about with that quote that was read from Don about the spiritualizing of the, of like just reading the word and that changing the mind, in fact, and the power of that. Like, I've always wanted to know a little bit more about what your thoughts are, or anybody, about the master. In discourses, it says the master as a relaying station, and that sharing of spiritual work is by no means one-sided. Even the disciples who merely think of the master or meditate upon him have the privilege of sharing the spiritual and universal work in which the master might be engaged in that moment. So for me, it's like Baba's not in a body, and he's obviously there's still work being done. And so us just meditating on him or thinking of him or reading his words, we're in fact partaking in his spiritualizing of the world.
Yeah, I mean, in that portion that you just read from the discourses, Baba said, I'm just paraphrasing, but the master receives our song at the local level, spiritualizes it, and broadcasts it to the world at large. Baba receives our love where we are, spiritualizes it. I mean, and gives it to the world, broadcasts it to the world, and it's the fastest way, the most effective way, efficient way of changing the world is going through the master rather than being out there in the world in social reform programs and all of that. It's the fastest. It's interesting because Erich said that Mother Teresa, as invaluable as her work was, he said you know, she could have done more of it internally and with a close group of people rather than getting so involved in all of these programs around the world. You know, you know, taking it to Jesus, Jesus can do spiritualize everything and broadcast it to the world in a much more effective way than our efforts, you know. But see if you can find in that discourse a little bit before that on the relay, that paragraph. Because this is, I mean, I came from a very socially active, proactive family, but that quote in there gave me, convinced me that I didn't have to do all the selfless service in the world that I was raised to believe that I should do. Do you see that there?
Yeah, I have it. I think this is it. It says, the master feeds upon the love of his disciples and utilizes the spiritual forces released by them for his universal work. In this way, the master is like a relaying station which receives.
A little louder.
Oh, sorry. Let me put my headset on real quick.
This is a very, I think this is one of the real, this is pivotal for me, this quote.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it says, the master feeds upon the love of his disciples and utilizes the spiritual forces released by them for his universal work. In this way, the master is like the relaying station which receives a song only in order to broadcast it to the world at large. To love the master is to love all, not merely symbolically, but actually. For what the master receives on the subtle planes, he spiritualizes and distributes.
Yeah, that was really critical in my life. It's like you got a little garage band and you write some songs and everything, and then you send it up to New York. They mix it and everything like that, and then it gets on the radio stations and broadcasted around the country. You know, and your kind of feeble melodies and everything, they've slicked them all up with great instrumentation and everything, and it's sent out on the radio stations.
Jeff,
Yeah,
that's why you Baba like to visit those theaters and public places. So where the entire consciousness gets focused at one point. Suppose everybody is laughing at some instant, and
yeah,
then that makes easy Baba's work. And then he uses that combined consciousness focus on one point, and then he can turn the key. He can turn the
yeah,
consciousness of each one.
yeah.
So yeah,
And I think even doing that today.
yeah,
Some of these events where there's so much focus on it,
right.
Baba can, because you know Baba, I mean his personality and everything is still here. He's
Yeah,
just not physically here. But even
sure.
even Eric said that Baba's always physically here. I don't know what he meant by that, but it's yeah, he's very active for sure.
Baba was leaving his body at the last moment and he called Bhau, remember this. I'm not this body. I'm not. So he insisted that
Yeah,
this is not my real. So he's there very much.
yeah, yeah. You know, I mean, he even gets up to New Jersey sometimes. Not Newark though, but I mean, no,
Okay.
Well, we know he's always here, right, Bob? I mean, Bob,
yeah,
Jeff,
yeah,
because he said it. He said it, here in Myrtle Beach. He said, I will
yeah,
never leave.
Hmm.
yeah,
I'm always here.
yeah. And he is
So,
really always everywhere with each one. He gives each one his full attention from beginning to end. But that quote that I read, there's a quote I read earlier, Lanita, which completes this. This is, Baba is always giving, he's always with us, but this is what Mani says, Baba's sister. It is important for each of us who love Baba to be with Baba. Baba is with us every second, but it becomes complete when we are with him. You know, it's not like he shows up when we start thinking of him. He's been there all along.
Yeah.
Hey, so
I like the song, Jeff, that you sing. I will never leave you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it always rings in my ear.
Yeah. Jim
You
Myers,
sing.
beautiful
Oh,
song.
yeah. Yeah.
Hey, well, what do you think? I have no idea what time it is because I lost my watch.
Jeff,
Oh,
Marsha
no.
has hand.
Well,
Oh,
the risk of
gosh.
really sounding crazy. Like when I go to bed or get up in the morning, I have to massage my feet. I'm imagining, and all of a sudden I'm massaging Baba's feet because he's not in the body. Or if I have an ache, all of a sudden I'm massaging my shoulder for everybody that has a shoulder ache. And it makes me feel like, wow, it's like,
No, that,
people here
yeah.
for you. It's like, so I said, wow, I could be a healer, because it's Baba, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So all this stuff's coming to me. It's kind of like, I don't know how to handle it exactly, or if I'm crazy.
Well, a lot of the Baba people that do massage and everything, they feel that Baba is working through them. I mean, they focus on Baba and they feel like he's the one who's doing it, and that's kind of what you're saying. That's a phenomenon that the Baba people experience. Well, let's see. Ganesh, what do you think?
I just found that quote on milk and blood. That's
Okay.
what I put on chat.
Yeah.
This is from the book Just to Love Him by Adi Kirani.
Was it Kabir?
Yeah, it's Adi Ke Kirani. So Adi Kaka refers Kabir to here. He's referring Kabir.
Yeah, go ahead, read it.
By loving Baba wholeheartedly, you can get everything. Don't ask, then you will get everything. Perfect Master Kabir, you may have heard his name, has said that if you do not ask and he gives it to you, what comes to you is something like pure milk. If you ask and he gives it to you, it is like water. And if you try to extract it from him, pestering him all the time, fulfill my desire, give me this, it is like blood. Have faith in him.
Yeah. So that was the sequence: milk, water, and blood.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah. Well,
but Jeff.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. What if, okay, I'm doing this all the time right now with this present condition, the situation rather. I talk to Baba and I ask him to help ease the pain and the suffering that people, the whole world is going through. And what can I do to help with that? Is that wrong to do that?
No, I think it's a beautiful thing, and that comes out of love. It's not. In fact, I feel Baba really welcomes that because that enables him to respond to you and do that very thing. Send his love through you out to your fellow countrymen and your near and dear ones.
No, it's not just that. What I tend to do when I'm praying and talking to him is I sort of ask Baba to send his light through me. I see myself covered in that light. And then I sort of project it out to cover the whole planet and, all the beings. And see it healing. This is what I keep. It's like a visualization, meditation, whatever.
Yeah, I think that's excellent. That's what Darwin Shaw used to do, in his meditation, to radiate out to all of humanity, to the whole world.
Yeah, the whole planet itself.
Yeah, I think it's, yeah, that's, I mean, this whole idea of asking is, I mean, even Bao Kauchura used to say, you know, you can ask Baba for anything, but just don't expect him to have to fulfill it for you if it's, you know, if he can't, you know. But what I mean is, ask him, Baba, help me with this final exam, you know, in college. You can ask him, but don't, you know, don't be angry if you don't pass. But he likes to be asked. I mean, what I gather from Bao, he likes to be asked by us, and as long as we don't have a lot of strings attached, you know.
But Jeff,
Yeah.
one time I heard Bao Kauchui say that we have this conversation. He was talking in New York one, and people are asking him, you know, we shouldn't ask Baba this, we shouldn't ask Baba that, we shouldn't ask Baba for a job, whatever. And then Bao said, ask Baba anything you want, abuse him. Abuse, Baba wants to be asked and to be abused. And I was like, what? That's Bao Kauchur saying this, you know, because, and then I understood that the most important thing about this is that you're thinking about Baba, you know.
Exactly.
That's what he wants, you know, because whatever you're asking, if you don't ask anything, you don't think of him. But if you ask, you're thinking of him. I think that's what he meant to say, but I was like, what?
Yeah, no, that's good. Any way you kind of link in with him is the best thing that we can do.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, in other words, if we just kind of passive and we never ask Baba for anything, we might not really have much going with him. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Dinku.
No,
Yeah.
it's like when, you know, my last dog, she was really suffering towards the end, and I didn't want to put her down, and I begged and pleaded with Baba. I said, Baba, please take her before, you know, don't make me do this, please, you know. And I was for her last couple of days, and it just didn't happen, and I finally had to put her down, and I was so upset, you know. But with Baba for quite a while, I mean, for a few days, and then I realized, I said, okay, well, maybe it was Baba's will that I had to do this and live with it.
Yeah, and I mean, and Baba would I mean, because your whole reason is out of love, and he would. This is my opinion, that he would have helped you, but he couldn't do it. You know, I mean, because he has to honor his own laws. You know, he can't just wave a wand and change things. I mean, but you gave him the opportunity to turn the key and help have your dog pass on before this had to happen. And Baba would do it if he could. I always feel he would do it if he could, and something kept him from being able to do it. You know, not.
But then,
huh?
Yeah. No, but then are we interfering with that? Well, for example, with my dog's karma by putting her down. This is another thing that I've, you know, always struggled with. In the case of animals, you know, sometimes they just can't. You just have to take that step. And is it wrong to do that? To put them out of their suffering?
You know, Baba did say this, that they don't experience suffering the way we do. You know, they don't have memory in quite the same way. But I think anything you do Baba says, whatever you do out of love has perfect results. And you know, most love that you can come up with in the moment, you know, that's the best that you can do. I mean, we don't like to do these things. They're disturbing.
Yeah.
You know, and I like to say, Baba has in some cases, some pet or some family member has died before having to go to the hospital or to going to the vet, and he has done that. Oh, you got Alan. You got Alan's got might have a letter. Do you written to that effect?
Oh no, I read it the other day on Sunday, but it just came to mind when Dinku was talking, was when he said to Garrett Fort in 1937 in his letter to him, he said, "My promises are always kept, but in my own way and at my own time." And so I've been thinking about that because I've asked Bob a lot of things before, and I've seen that it was a good thing that he didn't really answer me right away, because I was able to see things, and but it took time. But I also have that question about animals, because my mom's suffering with her dog right now, who's very, very old, and she doesn't want to put it down, and she wants to keep it going, and it's kind of sad to see, but I'm also like, can't say anything to her. It's very emotional for her.
No, I mean, yeah, they're intimate friends in your life. Probably some of the most loyal friends there are.
I had a dog that passed last year. She was 16 and a half. And it was the same thing. I kept praying to Baba, take her. And finally I had to put her down. But that's probably what I had to experience going through that. Baba couldn't do it because I had to do it. But I don't think that it's bad karma to put somebody out of misery.
Yeah, that had to
Not let
happen
them
in
go.
Baba's.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not something you would ever want to do.
No, it's horrible. Yeah. I
Yeah.
understand how you feel, Dinku.
Yeah. Hey, well, what do you say? Lenita, what time is it? I have no idea.
It's 12 o'clock your time.
Okay.
12. Oh.
Hey, what do you think? Did anyone have a last quote before we go on?
Go off.
Yeah, Baba.
Oh, is that Dinesh? Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes Baba doesn't do what we ask. He's also sometimes out of compassion because he knows what is needed for us. We ask anything. Yeah. So he is our beneficial, like our eternal Father. He knows what is good for us or not. So whether to give or not, even if he can do it, he may not do it out of compassion.
Yeah, sometimes I mean he gets a lot of requests. Sometimes the requests are contradictory. I don't want my daughter to marry that guy. Now she wants to marry him. No, I don't. So they're both coming in there. Baba has to decide. Someone is going to lose.
So he knows what is beneficial.
Yeah.
For his lovers.
But yeah, and to ask for Baba's intervention means you're getting the very best.
Very true.
You're not just getting your karmic dues, you're getting something that comes from grace.
Jeff, Dinesh's daughter is getting married, so we can wish him all best wishes.
Oh, wonderful. The 2nd of May.
She's getting married. Dinesh, your daughter is?
Yeah. She's getting married on 2nd of May. 1st May and 2nd May. I'm in the foothills of Mount Abu at the moment. At my native.
And Baba was in Mount Abu.
Yeah.
Number of times. Good.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, Vijayji.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. And all.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All the very best.
Yeah. Thank you, Lencha. Yeah.
Congratulations, Dinesh.
Yeah. Thanks, Ganeshji. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
So, any last moment inspiring quote that someone has found?
Well, this one says, win yourself. This is from Sparks of Silence.
Okay.
Baba says, to keep your best mood in every situation, never be upset or sad, to speak gently and lovingly, never using a harsh word, not to get excited when someone steals your things, but to say from the bottom of your heart, may Baba bless you. That is very difficult. That is really difficult. To control the self is more difficult than walking on fire or glass. It is easy to win a war of nations, but most difficult to win your own self. It is only it is the only real thing on this path, to keep a calm head, tolerate and swallow everything. You have won the greatest war when you win yourself. And it goes, when nothing upsets you, you are at the beginning of the path. When you desire nothing, you are halfway on the path. When nothing becomes everything, you are perfected. Okay, Bob.
Beautiful. Read that whole thing again. I just think it's well
Yeah,
worth hearing this.
Hey, where's that from again? That the source of that?
there's a small booklet here, The Sparks of Silence.
Oh, okay.
I think Sparks of Silence, yeah. Win yourself. To keep your best mood in every situation, never be upset or sad. To speak gently and lovingly. No, I mean, see here, there is some, when they try to get this into this book, I think they missed it, or it's the way it is. I don't know. It sounds a little discontinuous sometimes. Once again, let me start. To keep your best mood in every situation, never be upset or sad. To speak gently and lovingly, never using a harsh word. Not to get excited when someone steals your things, but to say from the bottom of your heart, may Baba bless you. That is really difficult. To control the self is more difficult than walking on fire or glass. It is easy to win a war of nations, but most difficult to win your own self. It is the only real thing on this path. To keep a calm head, tolerate and swallow everything. You have won the greatest war when you win yourself. When nothing upsets you, you are at the beginning of the path. When you desire nothing, you are halfway on the path. When nothing becomes everything, you are perfected. That's the message.
Beautiful. Great.
Wow, that's lovely.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had heard parts of that, but never the whole thing. Well, let's have a few moments of silence before we go on. Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Jay Bob.
Yeah.
Jai
So,
Baba.
so
Thank you.
not this coming Tuesday, but wait. Yeah, the next Tuesday I won't be here. So all of you guys are in charge. And Marcia is commander in chief, and Lenita is the bouncer.
It's party time next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And
Where are you gonna go, Jeff?
I'm just gonna take a 4-day vacation.
That sounds good.
Try to unplug.
And you don't have internet there, or are you going?
Well, I probably do, but I did one time when I was I did it from the bathroom. The
Gonna
you
stay
know
in the
the
linen
Oh
closet.
yeah, I
That's
remember
nice.
that, Jeff.
I hope you're gonna spend the 4 days in the linen
It's
closet.
hilarious.
Yeah.
And you had to
Okay,
you had to be
Jeff.
quiet. You had to be quiet in the bathroom. You were
Yeah.
being too loud.
Yeah.
You're entitled.
But I
You're
thought that
entitled to have vacation
yeah.
from us.
Yeah, so bring stuff on Tuesday. And you know that
Okay.
yeah. And Prakash, keep that quote there. That's a really excellent quote.
Sure.
I mean, even that's worth hearing again, you know, next time.
Yep.
Hey, was this computer making some noise? Did you say it sounded like it was raining or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some time, I don't know.
Did it subside?
Yeah, it did. It did
Yeah,
later on.
eventually it stopped.
Yeah, I
maybe
mean,
it's a
I
fan.
turned down the volume a little bit.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you must have turned it up on accident or something, because it got really it was like crackling.
Oh yeah, don't hesitate to let me know. Just
Prakash.
Well,
Yeah.
go out and look at the full moon. It's a full moon in Scorpio. It's a
Prakash.
Oh,
supermoon.
nice.
This book is in print now. This book, Sparks of Silence, is in print right now, or is out of print?
No
Do you
clue.
know?
I have no idea. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
I've never seen it, you know.
I have a copy of it.
Yeah.
So it might be from the Bombay group or something that printed
Yeah,
it, because
no,
it's not over here.
This was produced by Anna Khandale, the gentleman who passed away, I think, recently.
Yeah.
And Avatar Meher Baba Center, Akola. This is Maharashtra, somewhere in Maharashtra.
Akola,
Yeah,
okay.
I don't think we have it here now. I
Yeah,
have never
we
seen.
don't. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, folks. Well, you
Jeff,
know, yeah.
Okay, good night, everyone. Jai Baba.
let's just
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba,
Jai
Jai
Baba. Good
Baba.
night.
Jai Baba.
Thank you, everybody. Jai
Dinku has
Baba.
something to say, though. What?
No, I was just wondering, we're having Nosher Wan Nalawala on the chat on Monday.
No, on
And
Sunday night.
yeah, well, sorry, for us it's Monday morning.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah. And do you think someday Falu might be able to come on? Could you ask him?
I mean, Falu from Marazad?
Yeah, because I mean, he's grown up, he's Rhoda Mystery and Jimmy Mystery's son, and
Yeah.
he's grown up and he's been
you know
the manager
who-
there.
I think I could get Merwan Mystery.
Oh, that'll be nice.
He is great. I mean, because he was there at Group Prasad and playing cards with Bob and everything. He's all good. I mean, Falu's at Marazad. I don't know how easy that can be done, but definitely I'll get see if I can get Merwan Mystery, because
that'll be great.
And
I'd
maybe
love
I
to
can
see
get him.
too.
Maybe I can get him to pressure his brother. See if we can get.
I haven't seen him since he left for the US.
Merwan. Yeah.
Yeah, because they used to live right above me when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, so then what Marcia played, that was Rhoda.
That was
the mother.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Wow, flashback from the trip down memory lane. Okay, well, anyway, wonderful. Always to meet here.
Yep.
In outer space. Yeah.
Yeah,
And David, I don't know if David is still around. He's see you, Dinesh. Nasreen,
Yeah,
are you
Baba.
still around or?
Yes, I'm still around.
Oh, good. Well, that voice is the best. Why don't you say Avatar Meher Baba 3 times? We got to hear your voice.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Jai.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Jai.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
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 Okay, that's
Jai.
the way to end it.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Jai
you,
Baba.
everyone.
Yeah,
Jai
thank you.
Baba.
Jai Baba. Yeah.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba,
Jai
Jai
Baba.
Baba.